is crazy.
The NFL is crazy. Tyreek Hill is
NFL is
also
crazy.
wild.
Nah, he's slow. What you mean? How's he wild?
10
That man's
receptions,
that
146
man's got
yards.
Tom Brady's. That man's got Tom Brady speed.
Hey, bro. I, I think you're getting yourself mixed up with Tyreek Hill in your fantasy football or your flag football game last week.
Nah, bro. Nah, dude.
No, Tyreek,
Didn't
10 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown.
Yo, if Aiden O'Connell doesn't have those,
Three
if he only has
picks.
one turnover, and if he only has one pick, I think it's a much different game.
Yeah, you predicted that the Dolphins were going to win 31-17. I predicted 24-14 Raiders. Ended up being 2013 Fins. Um, and,
Mm-hmm.
the score doesn't really reflect how good Tua Tagovailoa was that game. Um, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Monster fantasy week. 86 yards on the ground from Raheem Mostert.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill, as I mentioned at the top, 10 receptions, 146 yards a TD. So just fucking monster fantasy week, fucking 30-point week. At wide receiver, that's insane. Um, but you flip over to the Raiders side of the ball, and right, I think you hit it right on the money. If O'Connell doesn't have those 3 picks, the Raiders win this must-win game. Like this might have put the Raiders outside of the grasp for the playoffs. Like their season might be done off
Mm-hmm.
this loss. This was a must-win game, and I think this wasn't just a must-win game for the Raiders to, statistically get in, but also I think this was a must-win game because it was like the Dolphins are a tough team. If you can beat the Dolphins right now, then you can beat any team in the NFL. They're just one of those teams.
Yeah, they're a
And
dominant team.
the Raiders put up a good fight. They proved that their defense is good enough to hang with anybody, but their offense still leaves too many questions, especially with Aiden O'Connell. Which, honestly, like, if Jimmy Garoppolo was starting in this game, I don't think that they would have even put up 13 points. I think Aiden O'Connell might be the answer. He's a rookie, so, we had to
The
give him that.
offense looks so much better.
Yeah, the offense looks so much better. Like, you got to remember he's a rookie, and it seems like these late round draft pick rookies never get the fair shake. We give the nod to Bryce Young for being a rookie, and that's okay. But Aiden O'Connell, who was taken in the 4th round, I believe, um, doesn't get a nod at all because he is taken in the 4th round, and he's expected to be better than Bryce Young. Like that's not fair.
No, not at all. See, the Raiders fell down to 12th in overall standings
Hmm.
for the playoff picture. With the Ravens win, oh, let's see here. So they're up to number one
Yep.
since the Eagles or since the Chiefs lost.
Yep.
So now Baltimore has the number one seed, which is kind of cool. Kind of good for them, I guess. Whatever.
And fuck the
Fuck the
Ravens.
Ravens. Fuck the Ravens, man. I'm so over them. That was perfect timing. Did anything really stand out to you in this game? Any surprises for you, or was it
No,
kind of
I think you and I both knew the game was going to come down to Aiden O'Connell being good or not, and that's what the game did come down to. Was the Raiders just needed him not to throw those 3 picks. If he doesn't throw those 3 picks, he probably has a 300+ yard day and 2 touchdowns, and that's the difference. They would have held
yeah?
the. I mean, you got to keep in mind, man. Like the Raiders' defense
Bless me.
played really fucking well. They were forcing turnovers too. They ended up getting 3 turnovers that
Yeah,
game, so like they made the game playable. Just if Aiden O'Connell throws one less interception, one more touchdown, this game goes to overtime, and they might have won it. And that's saying he only throws one less interception. Living in the world of what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. It's just one of those things where it's like it's tough to see. A guy I mentioned earlier, Robert Spillane, who had 13 top tackles. Mo Rig, who's been coming into his own, had 10 tackles. When you have 20 tackles
hmm
in the middle of the field, you're going to win a lot of those games and keep those games close. And that's exactly what the Raiders did. Max Crosby comes out, gets a sack and a tackle for a loss, pass deflection, 2 QB hits. They're getting pressure on Tua. They're doing what they needed to do. Just they weren't able to finish the job. And I think that's been the story for the Raiders this whole season. Is just they haven't been able to finish the job. But I do think Aiden O'Connell might be worth entertaining as your guy at QB. Um,
I mean, at this point, you might as well just let him play out.
yeah, and find
You
out
know,
Yeah, because like I think you could actually entertain the conversation of him being your guy, and you don't need to draft a guy this year. You know, I think you could build around Aiden O'Connell and work around this team, and I think you could honestly do something with him. He looks good when you're watching him. He's aware. He's got mobility. Um, he's
Hmm.
just a very good quarterback all around.
Yeah, because I'm trying to look up at his all his starts.
At He's a very good quarterback all around at this stage of his career as a rookie. You know, if he's playing similar to this next season, then it's very problematic.
Yeah, I think he also does have the benefit of being a fourth round pick
Yeah.
because with that comes less pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if he does play the same next year, people won't be questioning him as hard as they'll be questioning someone like Bryce Young, for example. Right. So okay. So in his 5 previous starts, he's done fairly well.
Yeah,
Let's look at it.
he hasn't. I don't think he's had more than
Yeah.
one turnover the rest of the season, other than against the Dolphins. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, because
They go out
against the
against.
Giants, he had 209 yards,
Mhm.
no touchdowns, no interceptions. Against the Jets, 153 yards, one touchdown, one interception. And then today, 271 yards, or not today, but on Sunday, 271 yards, one touchdown, and 3 interceptions. So hasn't played bad.
Yeah.
But in those, but in he's 2-2 right now as a starter.
Yep.
So I mean, I think he's played well enough to continue playing it and see where things go, see how things play out. I think the Raiders definitely made the right choice in firing Josh McDaniels
100%.
and bringing up the linebackers coach.
I
I
mean,
know
you
you
can.
wanted to talk a little bit about that,
Yeah,
right?
the thing is with Josh McDaniels is like I love Damian Pierce going up and being the head coach. He got a Super Bowl winning coach. He won with the
Mhm.
Giants. I can't remember what team he beat, but that's neither here nor there. Uh, anyways,
Interesting, interesting.
anyways, could you remind me of what team it was? I just really
The,
can't.
that's all I gotta say to you, man.
but
That's all I got.
but no, in
The
all action,
Patriots.
the Patriots. Thank you. But it's funny that the Patriot Slayer takes over for the Patriot Haysayer, or not Haysayer, but
Yeah.
fucking servant. You can't
Hmm.
go into a meeting with your team and get at them for talking bad about the Patriots if you're the head coach of a different team. You just can't.
Right.
Like, the team's getting hyped up. They're saying, "Yeah, fuck the Patriots." We're the Raiders, and then you're like, "No, don't
Mhm.
talk about Bill Belichick that way." Like, come on, bro, chill the fuck out. Damian Pierce, he comes in and
Get with
you,
it.
you see an automatic change. You see this team's hungry to win, and they put up a competitive fight against the Dolphins, and I think that they had their guy at head coach. And I think if Aiden O'Connell goes and gets 2 or 3 more wins throughout the rest of the season, I think that the Raiders are going to be comfortable with him at the helm. Because you don't need a guy that's going to be an elite passer right now. Like, this could be a deep playoff push team if Aiden O'Connell makes improvements next year, and you know they keep the group together on defense. Throughout the rest of this season, things are looking kind of scary for the Raiders. They got the Chiefs twice. They got the Vikings, Chargers, second game against the Chiefs, Colts and
Hmm.
Broncos. So they got a tough lineup coming up, and I can only see them winning 1 or 2 of these games realistically, and that's okay. That's okay if you're the Raiders. Expectations coming into the season, I don't think was necessarily playoffs, but you know,
Mm-mm.
this past week I was saying Josh Jacobs should go ahead and go off. It's starting to get to be that time of the year for him, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah,
14
he
carries,
went the
39
complete
yards.
opposite way.
Yep, just really
He
rough week.
he heard you say he heard you say so. I was like, let me not do that.
Hey, it's that Steelers
He's
Ravens hatred, bro.
He's like, let's just do completely
Yeah,
bad. How much of
yeah.
that do you think was because of the Dolphins' defense versus play calling?
I mean, man, I don't think it was the Dolphins' defense. If you want to be honest, you know, it just seemed like he's sluggish when you're watching film. I think it's a
Hmm.
Josh Jacobs issue more than anything
Hmm.
else. They gave him opportunities. They gave him 14 carries. He only got 39 yards. They could have stuck to the run a little bit longer and gave him probably 6 more carries. But you're playing
Hmm.
against the Dolphins. You recognize how scary this shit can get really quick, and you need to put points on the
Broncos
board
learned
for
that
them.
one.
Yeah, yeah. The Broncos learned that one, 70-20. Like
Yep.
devastating, bro. Um, fucking Madden score. um,
Bro, for real.
but like they could have gave the ball to Josh Jacobs a little bit more and probably got him running a little bit harder later in the half, later in the second half. But you know,
Hmm.
they just they passed the ball a little bit too frequently. I think with hindsight, you would have ran the ball a little bit more, especially with O'Connell throwing 3 picks. But that tells me that they trust O'Connell enough to give him a chance to win a game for him, and he just didn't come through. But I don't think that's going to be permanent standing for him. I think that this is a lesson to be learned, and he can be better in the future because of it.
Yeah, I think he has a bright future.
Me too.